Welcome to Mr. Holloway's Python Skills series. In this video, we're going to be talking about functions and the return statement. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to write a program that's a little more interesting here. So something that's a little bit more useful. All right, so let me set this up. I'm going to declare two variables, a, and I'm going to set it as a value of input. So if you remember in my previous videos, the input statement, what it does, it asks the user for input. And so whatever the user enters into this, it's going to assign that value to A. So I'm going to say enter a number. Okay. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to say B is equal to input. Enter another number. We'll do a number up here. All right, so again, this will ask the user for input. The user will input it, and then A will be equal to whatever the user puts in there. All right, now we're going to define a function, and we're going to call this function addition. We're not going to have any parameters here, and we're going to simply return A plus B. Okay, and then we're going to call it, and let's see what happens. All right, we're going to have to fix a couple things, but let's see what happens. So here we're going to ask for input. So let's just run it. All right, so we're going to run it, and we get this first number, and we're going to enter a number. So we're going to say 10, and then it says enter another number. Now, while this program is executing, it will not move on from this. The input statement waits for the user input, and then once it gets the input, it will execute the code. All right, so I'm going to do this, and if you notice, nothing happens. Okay, so it worked, but imagine this is like a magic trick. The magician does the magic trick, but it doesn't reveal how he did it. So in this case, we want to use this correctly. So this is not the way we want to use a function with a return statement. So when it has a return statement, we know it's going to return a number, but it has to return it to something. Okay, so we're going to do it. Let's do it. Let me keep the call. So I'm going to keep this here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print out the result. All right, so we're going to run the function, and then we're going to have a return value. Actually, I need to get rid of this here. Okay, so we're going to use a print statement. And in that print statement, I'm going to use an F string. Okay, if you remember from my previous video, F strings, I will put a link to my F strings video, but these are very useful. It cuts down any kind of errors, but I just think they're just a lot cleaner. So let's see what happens here. All right, so what I want to do is I want to say A plus B is, and in here I need to get the value of A plus B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call addition. Okay, and then once I call addition, this is going to return the value of A plus B. So that's all it's going to do, and it's going to be done. Okay, so in this case we're executing the input statements, and then it's going to see this, but it's not going to do anything. This is just a function definition, and then we're executing a print function with an F string. And if you remember from F strings, we can just insert variables in here. The only thing we have to do is do the curly brackets, and so we're going to say A plus B is addition. So we're calling this function because we know it's going to return back something. All right, so let's run it and let's see what happens. So I'm going to enter a number. So let's say 10, and our result should be 20 because I'm going to enter 10. And then let's hit the button and see what we get. And it says 10 plus 10 is 10. And that is not what we want. So we need to fix that. We can do a number of things, but if you saw my video on casting, we have to turn these numbers, the input, into an actual integer. Right now, whatever's entered with the input statement, it treats it like a string. Okay, so that's why we get 10 plus 10. So what I think I want to do is I think I want to convert it right here at the source. So I'm going to convert this. And so instead of saying input a number, I'm going to turn it into an int. So I'm going to say int. And then I'm going to say input a number. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll do int here. So what we're doing here is we're casting this. What we're doing is that when the user enters that information, we're going to convert it into an integer. Okay, so now let's see what kind of results we get here. So we're going to run it. I'm going to say 10, and then 10 plus 10 is 20. All right, that is one way we can do it. We could also convert it here. So if we just got rid of this, we'll have the same results, but let me just show you. So instead of converting it there, we could say int here. So we're going to turn these strings into ints. And we could do it here. It's just another way. Let's go ahead and run it. We should get the same result. So I'm going to say 10, and we get 20. All right. So it's just a matter of where you want to convert it. But the point of this video is that I wanted to talk about return statements and why they're important. They're used all the time. You have to kind of know how to use them, because if you don't use them correctly, you're not going to get the result that you want. So in this case, what we did was we assigned the value of variables from the input statement. We created a function called, or better yet, we defined a function called addition, and we returned a value which would add these two values. And because this information that's entered here is treated as a string, we have to convert it to an int, which we did here with the return statement. And then here we used an F string, where we can just put variables inside of the string, which is much cleaner as opposed to concatenation. And so we say a plus b is addition. So we just call the function, and then that returns a value. All right, so that concludes this video on the return statement. In the next series of videos, we're going to talk about conditionals, or conditional statements. All right, if you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.